was his name. And it's all over the Gospel of John. It's everywhere. From the beginning to the end, it's just all over the place. And so when he was saying, he who sees me sees the Father, he's talking about that experience that he is evidence, his existence is evidence that God the Father exists. God the Father exists because he exists as God's offspring. He sprang right out from the atmosphere, on some sunny day, and, that's what Jesus was talking about. And all these ideas about Trinity and all this kind of stuff doesn't have anything to do with reality. The reality is that if you want to definitely know that God exists, you've got to follow Jesus, and that means right on up to heaven. You have to ascend, you have to descend. He told you right in John 3, you know, in John 3, no one has ascended except he who descended. You know, it's like there are no ascended masters on earth unless these guys have descended from heaven. You know, that was the whole thing in his time. There were people running around saying they're ascended masters. You get somebody who can tell you what descending from heaven is like. You got somebody that's born again, a child of God, a someone who followed Jesus all the way to heaven, all the way back, you know. And you have to go to God the Father for that. You have to love God as your Father. You have to love God as everything loving God is supposed to be, everything. You have to love God completely. It's in the law of Moses to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And that's what it's about. It's about becoming a child of God. I know there are points, easy points here that just it just changes the whole thing, and see, then she goes to another paragraph. What proof did Jesus give for claiming to be divine? And then she just gives a paragraph of all the miracles that he did. But that was not it, because Jesus was questioned about that. He said point blank, God is the power that performs these works, not him. God the Father granted him all the miracles. I mean, he had a very exotic relationship with God. He had visionary experiences of seeing someone do things. Someone he called, the Father, seeing him do things, and then he would just imitate what he saw in his mind. So I'm no critic of, his experience, but I do, I love what his message was, the good news that you can be a child of God in a special way by being uh, recreated by God, actually an offspring of God, you know. And really, I trust that is the message. I don't know. I'm not, on YouTube to make any enemies. But, like I was saying earlier, life is about experience. Maybe, we just, 50 years of television is too much or something. Nobody, you know, does any recreation or something. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the whole deal. There's no Trinity. You don't, if every name of God was some person somewhere, my goodness, there are hundreds of Jewish names for God. And Son of God doesn't mean another. That doesn't mean another God. What if you had, I don't know, uh, I don't know what you would say. If everything of God is God, that's pantheism. You know what I mean? Everything is of God. It is in the nature of a man to be a son. It's not in the nature of God to be a son. Not that I know of. Of course, I haven't asked him. You know, I haven't asked God. But, and I think, a lot of Christians they should get on that, There are a lot of things you just haven't found out, So, don't claim to be, an ascended master who knows all the scriptures and everything. Hell with books. Become a descended master. Ask God to send you somewhere. And when you arrive, you'll know that you don't know much about God. So anyway, you know, peace on you. Let me see if I can turn this thing off.